Hello, Global Ed students. I want to take a couple minutes to talk you through week 3. The focus of this week is education around the world. Your primary goals are to explore education around the world in different areas and work on your comparative education bibliography, which is specific to a topic of your interest. There are a couple other areas of interest I'm having you explore, although there's not a discussion board associated with those today. This is just more for more exploration and enrichment and finding out more about different topics of education comparatively. So I'm going to talk you through week 3. If you go into week 3 in the module, of course, starts with the task list at the very beginning. I'll show you that task list, which I have open. So this week, you're going to be doing yellow dig posts again. This is recommended, same as before, where you're really working on just tackling some of those yellow dig posts so that you're not doing them all in the last week at the end of the term. So I recommend that you do one on Thursday, one on Sunday. Again, just recommend it doesn't have to be done on those dates, but I think it would be smart to go ahead and do a couple this week if you haven't already done so, aiming for 6 by the end of the term. And then, of course, your comparative education annotated bibliography, which I expect is what you'll be doing spending most of the time working on this week. Your readings, there's a wonderful database on education, which you can explore and kind of think about different ideas of education around the world. It might help you with your comparative education annotated bibliography. It definitely will help you kind of conceptualize the differences between American education and education around the world. There are also 2 sets of resources, one on Education for All and one on Shadow Education. I ask you to explore one set of those. It's up to you as to which one you choose. And then you should be reading the middle third of your chosen book so that by the end of this week you've got at least 2/3 of the book done, moving towards your book multimedia project and book review project at the end. So the goals for the week are to study emerging global education issues, so EFA and shadow education, as well as the one you're exploring for your comparative bibliography. Learn about educational systems of other countries. So these are things you're doing, and it's a great time to do yellow dig because several of those posts align perfectly. The journal review, potentially country comparison, global ed practices, education around the world. Those are things clearly related to this week's content. So again, your task just to read in your chosen book, explore the World Inequality Database on Education, choose one of these 2 areas to explore. You'll see folders, I'll show you those in just a second. Post in yellow dig, complete and submit your comparative ed annotated bibliography. In the next week, which is the last week of major content, you'll be exploring international benchmarks and assessments and like PISA and TIMSS, and be thinking about international assessment and the role of that in comparing across countries. And finishing up your yellow dig post, moving towards your book multimedia project. So just going back into the module here. So you've got the readings. This is just a reminder to keep reading in your chosen book. Here's the World Inequality Database on Education, which, as I mentioned, is a wonderful opportunity to kind of just compare countries, compare groups within a country. So you could pick a country and compare how groups are educated or specific things, compare overlapping disparities. Then you can start over here by just selecting the country. So if you want to pick the US, just to get perspective. If you want to pick the Netherlands, whatever you want to pick, you can click an indicator. So if you want to just specifically say the number of out-of-school adolescents, so if you're interested about dropout rates, for example, or the upper secondary completion rate, or the tertiary completion rate for my higher ed students, the literacy rate. There's all kinds of wonderful things that they've got here set up already. There's a education monitoring report. You can learn about that. That's through UNESCO by clicking there. And so there's all kinds of things there you can find. So I think you'll find that fascinating. I typically get in there and start exploring, and before I know it, I've spent a lot of time kind of exploring different indicators and seeing what's out there. Then there's the Education for All. So again, you choose either the Education for All or the Shadow Education. I think you'll find both of those very interesting, so pick whichever one you want to do to explore more. Yellow dig, so there's a link to the yellow dig and a reminder of those assignments. There's your annotated bibliography assignment, so this is the folder that talks about what everything is, which is also in the course information. There's a link to submit, so no need to ask me where to submit your annotated bibliography. The link's right there for you. So you submit your link there, and then of course a link to the Ask Your Question form. If you have any questions, please use the Ask Your Question form. That helps me facilitate getting the answer out to all of you in the most timely fashion. And then again, week 4 is going to be focused on international assessments. And my goal is actually to have the week 4 content up the middle of this week so that you can go ahead and start working ahead if you need to or want to. If you've got other things that are going on, of course, with the end of the school year for many of you, planning other trips. Brad's going to the Netherlands with me very soon, etc. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you very much.